right, here we go.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's been an active day across much of the area as we've been seeing a lot of wintry precipitation. We've had some rain, we've had some freezing rain, and we've had a bit of snow falling across parts of Minnesota and Iowa, and that's going to actually continue here for the next several hours. So what's going on? We do have an ice storm warning in effect for portions of the area. That includes Albert Lea. This goes until 6 o'clock this evening. A winter storm warning further to the north and west as they're actually seeing more in the way of snowfall. And also a winter weather advisory here that it does include Mason City all the way up to Rochester, as we are expecting some more freezing rain, but eventually this is going to be changing over to all snow going through the next several hours. And in terms of our roads, they have been a little bit snow covered further to the west. Right now looking at more of some wet roads around Mason City up towards Austin and Rochester, as we've seen a lot of that rain falling throughout the day. However, as our temperatures start to fall, a lot of those wet roads are going to start to become a bit slippery here later on this evening, and especially for tonight as we see our temperatures dropping down into the 20s. But again, further to the north and west, it's a little bit dicier with some of that snow and freezing rain falling across the area. We can see that here on Doppler radar. Some light rain showers moving to the north and east into the Rochester area at the moment. Back to the north and west, that's where all the snow is falling. You can see from around Sioux City up towards Sioux Falls on Interstate 29 over towards Marshall and Minneapolis, seeing a lot of snow. So they're going to have some impacts up around the Twin Cities going through the rest of today. Now, as we look at Albert Lea, though, we had all that freezing rain falling today. Look at those icicles that formed on the Skycam today just from all the freezing rain over the last 12 hours. So some pretty big impacts in Albert Lea. That's why that ice storm warning was issued earlier today. Also seeing that in Austin, Minnesota. Right now, 34 degrees. So some of that is starting to melt as our temperature is just slightly above freezing, but unfortunately, it's going to be getting cold again for tonight. As we look at our temps, we're into the 30s for much of the area, a little bit colder to the north and west around Fairmont at 28 degrees, 30 degrees in Albert Lea, 32 in Rochester, 37 in Charles City, and about 33 in Mason City. The wind has been fairly light, but it is picking up about 10 to 20 miles per hour back to the west. That's going to continue for tonight. All of this is associated with a low pressure system that's developed all that snow to the west, but to the east, there's actually some thunderstorms developing in Wisconsin and parts of Illinois. They're actually anticipating some severe weather. There is a risk of severe weather further to the east across southern Wisconsin and into northern Illinois for some gusty winds and perhaps a couple tornadoes. Meanwhile, here we're just going to be dealing with the snow over the next 12 hours or so. You can see here starting at 3 o'clock some light freezing precip in Rochester and Austin, snow back to the north and west, and eventually that's going to be building into the north going through the rest of the evening. So around Rochester, likely seeing some light snow back to the west around Albert Lea. Eventually all this will be kicking out of the area by this evening, so we're left with some cloud cover, temperatures into the 20s, and it's going to be on the chilly side for tonight as we see clear skies dropping down into the lower 20s later tonight. Could see some patchy fog developing as we get towards your Wednesday morning. And otherwise, Wednesday actually looking sunny, but it's going to be on the cold side as we see our temperatures only into the 30s and lower 40s. So for tonight, looking at a low down to 22 degrees on your Wednesday, 42 for the high, mostly sunny. So not a bad Wednesday, but still on the chilly side. We will see those lows back down into the 20s again by tomorrow night. And a look at our extended forecast, showing highs generally in the lower 40s for tomorrow and Thursday. 37 on your Friday. May see some snow or rain showers going into the weekend. 45 on Saturday. But otherwise, it's going to be staying fairly chilly with highs in the 40s for much of the extended forecast. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's been an active day across much of the area as we've seen a lot of rain, we've seen some snow, and we've seen some ice, some freezing rain falling in parts of southern Minnesota and northern Iowa. There is an ice storm warning still in effect until 6 o'clock this evening. That does include Albert Lea, just to the west of Austin, as we have seen a lot of freezing rain falling. Ice accumulations have been over 1/4 of an inch in some areas, and that's accumulating on some of the trees and power lines, so that's why that ice storm warning was issued earlier today. Meanwhile, to the north and west, there is a winter storm warning in effect also until 6 o'clock, as they have seen a little bit more in the way of snowfall, and elsewhere a winter weather advisory, as we are expecting some of that freezing precip to continue. Eventually it's going to become all snow for this evening. Meanwhile, as we look at the roads, they are in okay condition further to the east, where we've mainly just been seeing rain and some freezing rain. To the west, though, that's where we're seeing the roads a little bit more partially ice and snow covered as you go on Interstate 90 west of Albert Lea, heading towards Sioux Falls in southern Minnesota and eastern South Dakota and north central Iowa. But we are going to see those road conditions likely deteriorate a little bit again further to the west, where we're seeing more in the way of snow and freezing rain. But as our temperatures cool down below freezing tonight, I think some of those wet roads could get a little bit slippery going through tonight and into your Wednesday morning. Looking at Doppler radar right now, we are dry for a good portion of north central Iowa. We are starting to see some of that precip filling back in around Rochester. Back to the north and west, that's where we have a lot more snow flying. In parts of South Dakota into Minnesota, you can see a lot of snow falling from north of Sioux City into Sioux Falls, all the way into the Twin Cities, where they're actually expecting a decent accumulation of snowfall for this evening. And meanwhile, to the east, still a little bit of rain and even some thunderstorms in parts of Wisconsin. But meanwhile, check out what's happening in Albert Lea, where we had all that ice, that freezing rain that fell today. A lot of icicles forming on the skycam here, temperature at 30 degrees. Those icicles have been growing in size as all that freezing rain has been accumulating over the last 12 hours. Also seeing that in Austin, starting to melt just a little bit as our temperature is above freezing at 34 degrees. 30 now in Albert Lea, 32 in Rochester, 37 in Decorah, 30 in Owatonna, and about 28 degrees in Fairmont. Meanwhile, as we look at the wind, they are light for the most part, but starting to pick up just a bit more back to the west, where we have winds about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We're going to see that continuing here this evening, so it may get breezy for a period as that snow begins to wrap around, and we'll see some snow showers into the area later on this evening. Meanwhile, to the east, on the warm side of the system, they're actually seeing some rain and thunderstorms in parts of Wisconsin and north central Iowa. They actually have a risk of severe weather. That area in yellow, that includes Madison, Milwaukee, even the Chicagoland area, as they're expecting some gusty winds and perhaps even a few tornadoes later on this evening. So an active day across much of the Midwest. Meanwhile, back here, we're dealing with the winter weather. We have the snow falling likely here over the next few hours. Going towards about 6 o'clock, still seeing some snow showers in Rochester, back towards Albert Lea, starting to see that snow ending, and all this is going to be lifting northwards. So by this evening and tonight, we will be dry. Going to still see some of that cloud cover around, but look at our temperatures generally into the 20s for tonight. We're going down to the lower 20s later on tonight, and may actually see a little bit of patchy fog developing towards Wednesday morning, but otherwise Wednesday looking clear, looking dry, and should be seeing a fair amount of sunshine, but still rather chilly with highs into the upper 30s and lower 40s. So for tonight, calling for a low down to 22 degrees under a partly cloudy sky. We'll see 42 on your Wednesday, mostly sunny, and then dropping back down into the 20s going towards Wednesday night. And as we check out our 7-day forecast, where your weekend is always in view, we'll see a fair amount of sunshine going through the end of the work week. High of 37 on your Friday. Starting to see some more clouds building in. Some rain or snow on Saturday, but otherwise the rest of the weekend looking nice on Sunday. Sunny and 45, and we'll keep the 40s in the forecast as we head into next week.